No. This from Shams Charania just now. Just now, 30 seconds ago. Dallas Mavericks center Dereck Lively has sustained a small fracture in his foot and is expected to miss 2 to 3 months. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That's probably it. Like that is probably it. I can't. That's probably the end of the season. I can't imagine how you come back from this one. That's probably it. Two to 3 months. I mean, that's the rest of the season. He's probably out for the year. Might return by the playoffs. Can't trade Gafford now, right? Well, I mean, it depends on how they view the rest of the season now, because your outlook has changed dramatically just now. Your outlook has completely and totally shifted. Now I'm worried about a panic trade. So here's the on-off numbers with Dereck Lively this season. With him on the court, Mavs are +8 with a 109 defensive rating, 117 offensive rating. Just a great basketball team. When he's on the floor, when he's off the floor, Mavs barely above 0 net rating, 0.3 with a 114 defensive rating. Just a huge swing there defensively. Team is just better with him on the court. And now I really don't know. I don't know where you go now. Not only that, rebounding wise, they are a much better rebounding team with Dereck Lively on the floor. Defensive rebounding percentage as a team up 4 percentage points when he's on the court. Just comparing, I'm sorry, that number's 2.5 percentage points better when he's on the court. 5.4. The opponents rebound, get their miss 5.4 percentage points more when Daniel Gafford's on the court. I mean, this is insane. That's insane. Give Sharp some minutes. I mean, he might just have to play. And by the way, I don't think he's good at all. But he just might have to play out of pure necessity. Lone Ness with the 199. Hold us at this point and tell us we'll be okay. I can't be your binky, guys. I don't think we're going to be okay. I don't. This is probably it. I mean, what a fucking disaster. I think, so if I'm just quick reaction to this, I think you have to kind of reassess your position with Dereck Lively. There's been some talk. Is he an injury-prone player or not? I think our guy, Tim Cato, pointed out that he's played in 70% of the games. That's kind of a lot. That's kind of a lot of games missed. Just if you were to play 75% of games every year, that's 20 games missed. You wouldn't qualify for any end-of-season awards ever if that was the case. So, kind of a decent amount of time missed. Now that number's going to skyrocket. 55 games last year for Dereck Lively, 32 this year, and that number's probably going to stay at 32. Might return towards the end of the season. I mean, 2 to 3 months. It's January 22nd. So if we were to go positive end, all right, he's back March 22nd. Like, that's 2 months from today. How many games are left at that point? One, how many games are left at that point? And two, where in the fuck are you at as a team? Season ends April 13th. That'd be 12 games. 12 games if he comes back at that 2-month mark. If it's 3 months, season ends April 13th. Today is January 22nd. So that's it. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. There isn't a solution. There isn't a solution to this. There just isn't. Honestly, I wish there was. There really isn't one. It's so hard to survive losing 2 of your 3 best players for months at a time. So hard. Why did this come out now? He must have done it in practice. No, he probably did it when he twisted his ankle and they were kind of monitoring it, and then they found something on an x-ray or some shit. That'd have to be it. It's too much from the injury date. What the fuck is wearing low top tennis shoes again instead of high tops? Fire someone. I mean, this is... I mean, this is... This one hurts, man. I mean, this is one of your most valuable players, absolutely. They did x-rays the days after. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes shit pops up. I don't know. Maybe he heard it in practice. I don't know. I wasn't there. How are they just now doing x-rays after upgrading him to questionable? Guys, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We have to make a trade at this point. Do you? I mean, do you make a panic trade now? I don't know. What does a panic trade even look like? Yeah, sometimes x-rays don't see stuff. Kelly Olynyk. Oh. Claxton. Nurk. I don't know. I mean, this is why you go out and get a Daniel Gafford, though. And he's been playing great over the last week or so. But now the problem is, we know Gafford has his limitations. We know there's definitely going to be matchups where Gafford just isn't suited to play against. That goes without being said. That's why you go out and get him. Great backup center. You have a 20-year-old rising star, Dereck Lively, who's just perfect center for today's NBA. Doesn't shoot right now, but play makes. Can run your offense through out of the high post. Great rim protector. Leader on defense. Talks. The quarterback on defense. Block shots. You lose that guy. I don't think there should be a panic trade. I think that would be a bad move. You're already limited in the assets that you have. You have to be smart. You make a panic trade for, let's just say you make a panic trade for a center. Does this injury concern makes you entertain moving Lively if a big star becomes available? It definitely changes the outlook. It does. Lively will have played in barely over 80 games his first 2 years in the league. It definitely changes things. I said, I'm not saying trade him. I'm saying in how you build your roster. Because I've been saying all season, I think Daniel Gafford's probably going to be involved in a big trade in the summer. Like, it just makes sense. Now I really don't know. You can't throw another season away with Luke and Kai. I mean, you're not throwing a season away. It's not like you're throwing a season away. You're getting fucked here. You're running out of things to do. Maybe it's a sign of just shutting it down and trying to get Herb for the next season. No, this isn't a sign of anything. It's a sign that he has a broken foot. Like, the Mavs aren't shutting anything down, man. They're the 7 seed. Yeah, it was not thrown away. It was taken. There's no throwing away. They got fucked. Just looking at the lineups here with like the best lineups for the Mavs. I mean, look at this starting lineup. We'll never see it. We will not see it again this season. Plus 25. .130 offensive rating, 104 defensive rating. You're not seeing that lineup again this season. Look at some of the other great lineups the Mavs have. Dinwiddie, Najee Marshall, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Dereck Lively. That's plus 5. Limited time. 102 defensive rating. Kyrie Irving, Quentin Grimes, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Dereck Lively. Lineup you'd probably see a lot of. D-Live back in the coming weeks. Plus 43. Very limited possessions for all of these lineups. Mavs have been so hurt all season long. 95 defensive rating. My God. Spencer Dinwiddie, Quentin Grimes, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Dereck Lively. Minus 23. So the same exact lineup with Kyrie instead of Dinwiddie. I mean, that's just so few possessions that could just be one game throwing that off completely. Kyrie, Spencer Dinwiddie, Klay, PJ, Dereck Lively plus 32. You notice something here? When Dereck Lively's on the court, you're usually pretty fucking good. Robert Williams could be an option now. I mean, that would just be hilarious. All of our centers are hurt. Let's trade for Robert Williams. But he could be an option at this point. So crushed morale-wise. Yeah, I don't know how you bounce back from this. I mean, out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 most played Dereck Lively lineups, I mean, they're all dominant besides one. Do we need a new medical staff? I mean, don't they have a new medical staff? What's the ceiling for this team now? I mean, in their current form, none. I mean, missing the playoffs, missing the play-in tournament entirely is absolutely on the table. It is. I'm just saying, I'm just being truthful with you guys. All of the stuff I've said, this roster is really well built. It is really well built. Nobody's roster is built to handle a season like this. Nobody's is. There really isn't. There isn't a team in the league that is built to sustain something like we've seen from this Mavs team. Claxton is Lively, but with worse passing and 3 inches shorter, makes $28 million a year. No. I don't want Nick Claxton. I just don't. Are we the Grizzlies from last season? And I'm happy you said that because this is more reminiscent of the Grizzlies of last year than the Grizzlies of this year. Because people will say the Grizzlies this year, Jaren Jackson Jr. has played in every single game but the first 2 or 3. They've dealt with a ton of injuries this year, obviously, but their season last year where they dealt with a fuck ton of injuries prepped them for this season. There's not a lot of teams that are built to survive missing your best player for an extended period of time, missing your second best player for weeks at a time, and then now missing your third best player for over half the season. There's not a lot of teams that are built to survive that, man. Grizzlies were even more injured. They were more injured last year, and they were terrible. That's the point I'm trying to make. There's no team built to survive this. Did the Mavericks roster build in reverse order? Luka was so good it threw off draft capital. Now injured. Now injuries could cause the Mavericks to have 2 lottery picks in this draft, plus Dereck Lively. Why would they have 2 lottery picks in this draft? Odds that Shambomb is rotten, very small to nil. Grizzlies found multiple role players last year. So far, we found nothing. I mean, their injuries are just starting. Dude, sometimes you just get fucked, man. Sometimes I know we want to have some people to blame. We got to be mad. We got to be mad. We always have to be mad. We have to be mad at somebody. We have to be mad at the coach. We have to be mad at this person. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. Sometimes you just get fucked, man. Sometimes it's not fair. Sometimes you think to yourself, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Why us? What went wrong? Sometimes it just fucking happens. Does Slightly not know D-Live is out for 2 to 3 months now? No, I have no idea. I have no idea. What? What are you talking about? Sometimes shit just happens. Lace up slightly. Shit. Trade idea: Hardy, Omax, Kleba first and second for Kessler, Edwards, and Clarkson. Oh, man. Mavs will be fine. Use the picks wisely. Make the play in. It's going to be tough. It just is. The Suns and Kings are probably about to improve their rosters pretty significantly, is what it sounds like. Like Jimmy Butler to the Suns feels like a foregone conclusion at this point, and the Cam Johnson to the Kings stuff's heating up significantly. The Timberwolves are probably going to finish, figure some stuff out. Those are the 3 teams directly behind you that will almost certainly have an upward trajectory, while you absolutely have a downward trajectory now. Sometimes you just get fucked, man. Sometimes it's not fair. And that's that. I believe this could be the season. I did too. It's a great team, man. Y'all forget Luka made it to the Western Conference Finals with Powell as a starting center. Just need him to come back. We'll be all right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they'll still be competitive. What I'm saying, it feels like it's cooked. I'm saying I think your championship ceiling has crumbled. I mean, yeah, the Wolves might not figure it out. I don't know. Joe Fu, 11 months to the site. Illusional Club. Shut this team down. Get healthy for next year. They're not going to shut anything down, but let's say Luka does come back in a few weeks. How deep is the hole you have to dig yourself out of? And here's the thing. Here's the problem with the Mavs constantly being around 500 at the All-Star break is the pace in which you have to play at. I mean, think about last year. Mavs played at, what, a 60-win pace to close out the back half of the season. The record was exactly the same as it is now entering this time, and they were the 5 seed. Like, think about that. Same thing a couple years ago. Had to play at a 50, 60-win pace the back half of the season because you started the season so slowly, and they were the 4 seed. Like, that's having just such a small margin of error, having to play at an incredible pace, 60-win pace. That's really hard to do over a 2-month stretch. You have to play at that pace just to be a 5 or a 4 seed. And now your margin of error is even thinner because you're without your third best player. The guy who's really, I mean, arguably, and I said this on Locked On last year and got fucked shit on for it, arguably your second most important player. I mean, like, that's not a slight to anybody, but you just don't have, and the most valuable player on your roster, you don't have somebody to replicate what he brings to you. You just don't. If the Mavs want to play more cautious with Luka, does Clay think maybe I should move on to finish my career somewhere else? I have no idea. I mean, that could be a possibility. Guys, if you're coming in here to say Lively's out 2 to 3 months, I already know. Like, why? Just think to yourself, why would I not know that? Lively can still come back by playoff time? Yeah. They have to make the playoffs. I was telling a chatter. Okay, my bad. With this injury, what's the ceiling for this roster? It's going to be tough to win games, man. Especially without Luka. Like, the next couple weeks, there's going to be tough to win games. Luka comes back, you'll still be a competitive team. You just will. You know what? You'll probably win enough games to be in the play-in. But then from there, I don't know. Look, the ceiling is still a championship. I know it sucks right now and everyone's mad, but there's still time to get healthy and cooking. Man, it's gonna be so hard without D-Live. You don't have somebody to replace him. And the way that you built your roster is Dereck Lively such an important piece because he's your anchor defensively. You don't have a lot of great perimeter defenders, so you really need some great backline defenders. You need great rim protection, and Dereck Lively provides you with that. And now that's gone. A lot of your offense has been built around, hey, we're going to space the floor. We're going to spam pick and rolls. We're going to spam dribble handoffs. Dereck Lively's a phenomenal player in the short roll, can pass. That's going to be a staple of our offense. Now you're without that. We'll see. I mean, Gafford's been playing great the last week. Huge props to him. Huge props to Daniel Gafford. It's going to be hard, but we're talking about the ceiling of this team. I doubt we miss the playoffs even without Lively. It'll be interesting. We'll see. I mean, they could make a trade for a center. They could. There are some stopgap options out there. You know, if it's true that Robert Williams, the price tag for him is a couple of seconds, that becomes interesting. Play small ball. Trade for a big four and play small ball. I don't know if there's a guy out on the market that's like that. The buyout market will be robust. Just doesn't make sense to go for a trade. No, I agree. A panic trade for like a center would, I don't think makes sense at all. What concerns me the most is Luka playing again for Slovenia, not having any rest again. I've got bigger concerns on my mind. I can't imagine Isaiah Stewart's on the trade market. Fill the gap left by an injury-prone center with another injury-prone one would be a great move by the Mavs. Well, I think your hope would be, yeah, this guy's injury-prone, he's out now, but you're injury-prone and you're playing, and we just need that. If you get hurt, can you just wait till our other injury-prone guy's back, please? We still need a backup four. Like, I know injuries are popping up, and Nico needs to focus on trading Maxey. It depends on what their outlook is. If their outlook is we have to find a center right now, our season's over, and we're not gonna let this season slip away from our grasp, then their approach to the deadline is going to be very different. If their approach is, hey, you know what, Gafford can play, we just need some guys to step up. Maybe we look internally for a backup center option with Sharp, with Daron or what's his first name? I almost said Daron Sharp. But that's not his first name. Daron Sharp would be really interesting. I was watching the Nets Knicks game last night. Jamarion Sharp. I don't think that's an option, realistically. Colton, 30 months, how big is your foot? If applicable, donate to live. I mean, you know what they say about guys with big feet. I'm not trading my feet. Boban, oh God. Dwight's injured. To make matters worse, Dwight Powell is injured. To make matters fucking worse, when we needed Dwight Powell the most, he wasn't even available. I don't know, guys. Let me do a quick. My initial reaction to summarize. This has been a nightmare season. I know we want to blame people. I get it. I understand. We're frustrated. We're upset. The Mavs have been losing games. Now there's another huge blow to this roster. One that feels really difficult to bounce back from. Huge blow to your roster. No two ways around it. I know we want to blame everyone. Dude, sometimes shit just happens, man. It's not the answer anyone wants to hear. Sometimes shit just doesn't work out for you. There's 30 teams in the NBA. Every year, there's 3, 4, 5 teams that just have a nightmare season that they can't claw their way out of. Injuries, performances, internal strife, whatever the case may be. There's always 3, 4, 5 teams. And unfortunately this year, it looks like it's the Mavs. It looks like the Mavs are one of those teams that are just fucked. And sometimes the answer is that simple. We had a nightmare injury season last year and still got through it. They got through it because all of their injured guys, one of which was Dereck Lively around this time a year ago, got healthy around the trade deadline. The unfortunate reality is there's not going to be health at the trade deadline. Luka will be back soonish. Within the next couple of weeks, it sounds like. But here's another thing you have to factor in. Luka's going to be back from a calf strain. Probably going to take some ramp up. I mean, nobody should expect Luka to come back and be absolutely 100% ready to go MVP level immediately. It's going to take some time, naturally. Right? Kyrie is going to be dealing with a lingering back problem all season. Like, we know that for certain. He himself has said it. It's something they're going to have to manage. You're going to have stretches where, hey, the Mavs play on Friday. Oh, hey, Kyrie, we didn't like the way his back responded to shoot around this morning. We're gonna shut him down for a week, and we'll check back in a week. That's going to happen. The problem is, as the stuff I've just mentioned, the Mavs are just so much better when Lively's on the court. Their defense is so much better. They rebound so much better. My God, teams are shooting 10 percentage points worse at the rim with Dwight Powell's out. Never mind, guys. We found our internal solution. What about Walker Kessler? That price tag is going to be high, man. I don't really see a reason why they would trade him. Shams, yay. What's this one? Oh, Jared Vanderbilt's back. Congratulations. What a nightmare. I don't know, guys. I'm just trying to process all of this. My immediate reaction when it first broke was season's fucked. They'll win enough games to hopefully stay in the play-in mix. And then, yeah, maybe Lively's back by then, and then your team's looking different in the playoffs. That's tough. That really is. You're going to have next to no continuity with any of these lineups. Something that's very important. We know that. We know how important that is. And you're really going to have to overextend some guys over the stretch just to win games. I agree, Isaiah. That's what I've been saying this whole time. Injuries have been the biggest problem for this team all season. There's other problems as well, sure. I look at this as a good chance to develop Max. And yeah, maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel from the season. Gafford plays really well and ups his value or whatever the case may be. You give an opportunity to some other guys, like Omax, and maybe he starts to develop into an actual real rotational player. Lively on his Instagram story said he'll be back. Yeah. This one is and Brad Townsend makes a good point here. We've been telling ourselves they'll get healthy. They'll get healthy. But maybe not, man. Maybe not. Like, just because one guy comes back does not mean everything else is fine. I really don't know what to say. They're going to have to trade for a power forward that can play the center position on the bench. I'm really hopeful they don't make a panic trade. I'm really hopeful. If they make a trade that they were already thinking about and this kind of accelerated that process, that's fine. If this happened and they said, fuck, we got to do something, and they make a panic trade where you're maybe paying $1.50 on the dollar, then I'm not a fan of that. We'll have to wait and see what constitutes as a panic trade. I mean, like a Nick Claxton trade, trading a couple first-round picks for Nick Claxton comes to my mind immediately. That's not something I'm interested in whatsoever. Not something I'm interested in at all. Like a panic, oh shit, now we got to trade a couple picks, first rounder maybe, for like John Collins. That's not something I'm all that interested in at all either, to be honest with you. Maybe if John Collins was making less money. We went to the Western Conference Finals with Dwight Powell as our starting center. Brother, I got bad news for you. And I get where you're coming from, and I understand your sentiment. But my bad news for you is, guess who's also hurt? Guess who's also fucking hurt? Collins wouldn't be terrible, but the way his contract is, it's really weird. It's hard for the Mavs to get that salary. Guys, the West is better than it was then too. That Suns team is not in the same stratosphere as OKC. What makes this so much worse is like we saw how good this team was, man. That's the shitty part. We saw how good this team was. And it just got ripped away from us. Just torn away from us. Yeah, that's true as well. Dwight Powell technically was the starting center for the Mavs, but he did not play a real significant role in the playoffs. What makes it worse is the only real title competition is OKC. The Mavericks have their number as a matchup. The Grizzlies have reached a point with me where I'm like, all right, I'm taking them seriously. So I wouldn't say the only, but yeah, I get where you're coming from, though. This was Dereck Lively's Instagram story. I'll be back. What a bummer, dude. What a fucking bummer. Ugh.